The Bermuda Triangle, maybe the most famous area of disappearances. Over the years, airplanes, ships, and boats have disappeared without a trace and without explanation. Some of the seagoing vessels have been found adrift with no one on board. Then there are the missing 411. Accounts of people that have vanished in our national parks, never to be heard from or seen again. Mysterious stairs to nowhere, found in remote areas that some say should never be climbed. Are there glitches in the Matrix, time slips, or maybe portals where the past and the present intersect?
In 2007, she and her 3 siblings and her sister-in-law were driving from Florida to Georgia after attending their favorite uncle's funeral. They're on 75, they're headed to Georgia. She pulls off and they notice that there's no signs at the exit. She turns, is driving down this road for what feels like forever, and there's no signs of life. There's no street lights, there's no other cars. They see lights of a gas station. She notices something is off. The lighting is strange. There's one fluorescent lamp in the middle of the ceiling, and it's flickering every few seconds. She looks at her brother to say something like, "This is creepy," but she notices her brother is just staring at the man standing by the counter. So they're driving down the same road back to the highway. She said they didn't have GPS, but she had made that trip from Florida to Georgia and back and forth just tons of times over the years, so she didn't need GPS. She said she did have a candy bar phone, but no maps or anything like that. So she knows she's headed the right way, but they're driving and they don't hit the interstate. She realizes they're coming up to another gas station, and it's the same one, but this time the lights are off and the gas station's boarded up and there's no man inside.
Hey Exploration Nation, I'm here tonight with somebody you have not seen in quite a while, and that is the Retromantic. She is back with me tonight, and we are doing what could be considered an exploration, but not abandoned places. We are looking for a gas station that doesn't exist. That's interesting, but what we're talking about is been called a time slip, time loop. From my very limited knowledge of things, maybe a distortion in the space-time continuum, or a rift in the space-time continuum.
Or a glitch in the Matrix, if you will.
Or a glitch in the Matrix. Now, for the backstory, this is the short version. For the complete backstory, you will find this on Ashlee Inc.'s channel. Her 3 videos on it will be in the comments below as a pinned comment. And I would suggest that you watch each of those videos before watching the rest of this one, so that you'll know what we're doing and why we're doing it. So with that, I think it's time to get on the road and check out a few places. Before we tried to find the location of the old gas station, the Retromantic and I went to Lake Park, Georgia first, which is a few miles south of Valdosta on I-75. A viewer on Ashlee Inc.'s channel who wished to remain anonymous contacted her stating the description of the man in the old gas station sounded like his father. The viewer said his father worked at a gas station years ago in Lake Park. That is how a possible location of the old gas station being in Lake Park originated. The original account indicated about a 15-minute drive after leaving the interstate to where the gas station was encountered. We ran a test to show you whether or not this was possible in Lake Park. Okay, we're down in Lake Park, and we came down here today to show you why we don't believe that the incidents of time slips happened here, because the area is just not what was described in the original account. We're headed towards town, and this will be a short drive. There's no way you can get 15 minutes of driving in here. unless you're on a bicycle or something. But ever since the late 70s, there's always been development up here, and that's one thing. It hasn't been devoid of development for a long time, since before we moved here. And we'll be coming up on 41 here in just a few minutes. This is Georgia Highway 376 that runs through Lake Park between I-75 and US 41. It's only about 1.5 miles all the way through town, so a 15-minute drive as indicated in the original story is not possible. I lived in the area from 1978 to 1984, and there was always development along this highway, which is another inconsistency with the original account of there being nothing. To it. That's why I just let the camera roll for you so you can see how short a drive it really is. That's 41 right over there. And 376 continues, but you have to take a right turn, go south, and then turn left for it to continue. But the drive here is just way too short for it to be the location that was described by Maria to start with. So we're not sure just how things got switched from Tifton to Lake Park. We have an idea, but we're not really 100% sure about why. Because she did say just north of Tifton.
That's 65 miles away from here.
That's right. It's 50 miles from Valdosta. It's about 12 miles to Lake Park from Valdosta. So yeah, it's close to 65 miles. 62 to 65 miles up there. So, big difference in the area. Okay, we've traveled I-75 north, getting off at Brighton Road. This will be the first road that we check out. We'll be going up here and taking a right.
Something to note is that this still is an exit that does not have any food or any gas stations associated with it. There's no sign saying if you take this exit, there's going to be food and gas. Yeah, and that was something they talked about. They just took the next available exit because she had to pee so bad.
Yeah, so this fits the description. There's nothing down here but farmland and people who live here, and that's really it, other than one convenience store and gas station, and that's it.
This is a middle of nowhere kind of story, and this is the place that fits the bill.
just took place. This four-way stop may or may not have been here. It wasn't mentioned in the original account, but again, we're just doing the best we can and duplicating conditions as closely as we can. That station back there was where we were before, telling you about it, and that is the only thing out here. Gas station, business, there is nothing else out here. So we're going to take a look and see if anything else is here now that wasn't here before. Said, nothing here. There's woods on both sides of the road, which that was mentioned. And there are no lights out here. There's a house every now and then, but there's nothing else out here.
The camera's having trouble focusing because there's nothing to focus on. Interesting how yours is staying clear and mine is just going blurry. I'm entering the time glitch and leaving you behind.
To an intersection here. Brighton Road dead ends right here, so we're going to turn around here and go back. And we didn't see anything unusual, nothing that shouldn't have been there, nothing that wasn't there before, so we're going to turn around and head back. And then we're going to do a second test.
And I have to pee even more now. Because we didn't come to the gas station.
Oh, we sure didn't.
I'm just gonna make a side note that what was that road called? The Willis
Still Road.
Willis Still Road is back here. There was very few, but maybe one or two comments for some reason suggesting Willis-Still Road. And we thought that was odd because we ended up on Willis-Still and it was a dirt road. I think that, if they ended up on a dirt road, that would have been something they mentioned, because that would have escalated the situation even more in terms of the creepiness factor and the unease. You're just driving along and all of a sudden it's a dirt road. That's even more backwoods.
And it was dirt as far as you could see on both directions.
Yep.
So it was substantial. Getting back towards town, it may turn to pavement. We don't know. We didn't stay with it.
So unless somebody knows something about that we don't, I don't think this has anything to do with Willis-Still Road.
Well, we're back at the interstate and didn't see anything coming back out of the ordinary. So we're headed for test number 2. We'll see y'all back in just a few.
We're on Chua Brookfield Road, just north of Tifton, Georgia, and this is one of the roads that seems to meet the description of the travelers that gave the initial account of what happened down here. There's several locations on here. There's a vacant lot over here where something was, but it's just a parking lot, or was, and no indication of a building or anything, so don't know what that is. Across the street is a currently operating Texaco station, and there's another location on down the road here, 2 or 3 miles, that may possibly be it.
Well, now most of the accounts in the comments about this situation say they were in an entirely different area. We're here, investigating here, because we think, from what she described, that this is more likely to be the area than what everybody else is going after. That Valdosta and Tifton are basically the same location.
And
There's been confusion with that. They're not. They're, 65 miles apart from each other?
From Lake Park, Georgia, where a lot of people are saying it took place, is about between 60 and 65 miles from here. Maria gave the original account, and when somebody mentioned the Lake Park thing, she said, no, I know that I've already passed Valdosta. And she said that the location, the exit where she got off, was just north of Tifton. We're going to see if we can see what they saw. So, let's go.
And here's the Chua Brookfield Road exit. And again, we'll be turning right. Now, one of the locations that was given as a possible location is this Texaco station right here on the right. But if that had been any kind of gas station at the time our travelers were coming up through here, they would have stopped right there, and she plainly said that there was nothing. So we're going to just go on and see what happens. this is Blue Devil's Corner right here. No, it's not.
No.
Cut that out.
Little marathon. That one's the Dixie Foods one. If the 15 minutes part is true or is really a part of this and it wasn't some kind of time distortion, I think it would make more sense with the exit we just took.
I agree. This is a long road. It's easy to get 15 minutes in this.
And it's probably what we said. There was a gas station somewhere that isn't there now along here, whether it be in one of the spots where there's a new gas station or somewhere else that we don't even know about. This seems the most probable for the situation to be real.
I agree. I feel like that this is the right location based on all the information that we have.
There's places along here where you don't even see any lights. I mean, there are houses back here scattered, but there's places where you really don't see anything. But back then, it was probably even less. You know, we saw some new construction homes back here, like now.
Yes, there's no doubt been some newer homes built. We've seen a few of them.
But not much.
Yeah, not much at all. As you can see, there's really nothing out here.
And I read online too a lot of comments about this situation. They were also saying that honestly, not much has changed in this area in all that time. It doesn't look that different, you know, besides for the bigger gas stations and some new homes and things, and a few things here and there. It's not like it's had that huge like urban sprawl that other areas have. They're saying it looks similar to decades and decades ago.
Yes, there was just some new construction back up the road. I think a subdivision maybe, something like that, and that was pretty well it. You can see we're still driving. We're still out here in the middle of nowhere, and there is nothing, not a light, nothing.
It's desolate.
And that's another indication that this, to me, is the most probable location, because there's just
gas stations that people are suggesting, they have things all around them. Like, I'm not saying it's a booming metropolis, it's a really small town, but the way this was described was that there was nothing behind the gas station, just trees. And in that area of Lake Park where everybody's saying the different spots, it's just not like that. It doesn't match up.
Off the interstate, if not 15, and we're still going.
Still going. Energizer Bunny.
straight across.
Did we go there yet?
I don't think so, but that's another plus in whether or not this may be where the event took place.
Yeah, well, false alarm, not into the line.
space. And I think you may be right that it was a time distortion that generated the 15 minutes. Because coming back, after they came back by the station for the last time, they said it was just a very few minutes to the interstate from there.
Yeah, that makes sense for where the other gas station areas are. So it seemed like it was something like this going in, but exiting the interstate was pretty much right there, and that rings true for those other locations.
That's right. You know, they came back by the same station more than once, traveling what they thought was a straight line. And the last time they came by it was less than 5 minutes so to the interstate. So, and speaking of the end of the line, here we are.
Yes, this is the true end of the line.
Yep. So we're going to turn around right here and head back.
So we decided to come down to the Valdosta area of Georgia, which is close to the Florida border, to have a go at an ongoing mystery that's been viral online for quite some time. We're late to the game because it's kind of died down, but I think, you know, I mean, my interest level in it is still up, and there's still people commenting on the videos, you know, now. So I think, you know, it's still out there. It's just not quite as in the spotlight as it was maybe last spring is when it was really hitting hard.
Around April.
Yeah.
Springtime.
So I'm not going to go over the story because I think you did that in your video, and
plus, by this point, people need to watch the 3 videos
so
from Ashlee Inc.
I'm just going to direct you to the videos. They're available under this one, as well as on the Retromantic Facebook page and the community tab. I don't think they call it that anymore.
It's called posts.
There's a post on my YouTube channel with links if you want to go there to hear the original story by Maria, who has it on her TikTok, but it is being retold by a big TikToker and fairly large YouTuber who tells spooky stories. So she had picked up this story, and it just kind of, you know, sometimes you just tell a story and that's like, ooh, that's creepy or whatever, and you just forget about it. But this one kind of stuck around for a couple different reasons. One being, a lot of other people said they had a similar experience in the area, and we're using "in the area" loosely because we're going to get to that. But
Definitely, very loosely.
And also because there were some updates to the story where one of the people that wrote in actually ended up saying that they thought that the store clerk was their own father, so that added another layer of mystery to this. But it's basically a time slip or a time loop kind of, well, it's not, well, it is a little bit of a loop.
Yeah, that she did loop and come back by the service station again after driving straight and not turning around. So yeah, a little bit of a time loop. There are different names for it called glitch.
Glitch in the Matrix is a big one now.
Or a time glitch. Having been a Trekkie for a while, and this may sound silly, but most of the Star Trek series was based on actual theories of quantum physics. And what this kind of looks like to me is possibly a distortion in the time-space continuum that appears, and then when the distortion closes, it's gone. Things can pass through it, but the ability to pass through is gone when it closes. Could also be a rift. And I kind of had a theory that maybe at the time this was happening, the Earth was passing through something in space, through a distortion or a rift, causing this to happen. And then once the Earth was through it, then they closed, and then that's it. And it's, not to be seen again. So it's not a permanent phenomenon, of course. You can't just go there any old time and see it. So it's something that's very temporal, and that's all we know at this point. Essentially, is that it was there and then it wasn't, and so we're not sure exactly what it is. But from one of the accounts, it seems like that the two time frames, the present and past, where the gas station was with the man in it, were slightly out of phase because they were seeing two different things. They were seeing the product on the shelf as being old and outdated and dusty, and he was seeing it as fresh and still good. Well, that wraps it up for this little project and experiment, and so you decide whether you believe it or not, and either way, we're happy that you came along and joined us on this. We certainly, as Rachel said, we've had fun with this. It was fun doing the research, and even though it's frustrating at times, getting out, putting something to the test, and looking into something to try to find an answer, that's the fun part.
It keeps us young. It keeps our brains going.
As the saying goes, the journey is the destination. It's not about where you're going, it's about the journey. And this has been a journey, for sure. So thank you so much for joining us. And check out Retromantic's channel. Link will be in the description below. And we certainly do appreciate you coming along. Thank you so much. And we will see you in the next one.